The story kicks off with a scene of a Zeppelin airship touching down in the courtyard of the Northern Kingdom Palace. A crowd eagerly awaits to greet the arrival of a duchess's daughter from the Western Kingdom. The princess, named Arnie Brilhite, is about to marry a Grand Duke from the Northern Kingdom. Thing is, Arnie hasn't laid eyes on her future hubby yet. Besides being a duchess's daughter, Arn's also a swordmaster and a hero of her nation. As Arnie steps out of that Zeppelin, everyone's jaws drop at the sight of her beauty. But Arnie's in for a shock when she comes face to face with a handsome man who introduces himself as Grand Duke Cassian from Ternugan. Yep, he's the guy she's supposed to tie the knot with. Finding out her betrothed's true identity, Arnie's hit with instant regret and feeling majorly duped. So, why's Arnie feeling all regretful and bamboozled? Well, let's rewind a few months back to the scene at the Western Kingdom Palace. About 3 months ago, there was this big shindig attended by guests from both the Western and Northern Kingdoms. Arnie's mom, Rosalia Brilhite, the wife of Duke Brilhite, practically strong-armed Arnie into attending. But instead of mingling at the bash, Arnie sneakily scoped it out from outside the palace windows to avoid her mom, who was fashionably late. Arn was nursing a major hangover from partying with soldiers the night before and had completely forgotten about the upcoming bash. Feeling a bit peeved, she wondered why she even had to show up and wished she could just bail. But then she remembered her mom's threats earlier that morning about attending this bash. Plus, Arnie had to meet the Emperor to get this Emperor's frost stamp, so she reluctantly dragged herself to the party. Unintentionally, Arnie overhears some guests gossiping about her, assuming she's ditched yet another bash, which really sets off her mom. Arnie vividly recalls her mom's terrifying wrath when she's mad, making her even more desperate to avoid her. Figuring it's safer to just go meet the Emperor, so when her mom asks the Emperor about her absence, he'll confirm she attended the party. Arnie figures the Emperor's on the 3rd floor, so she leaps and climbs her way up there. But lo and behold, when she finally makes it to the 3rd floor balcony, she's spotted by a masked man. For a moment, Arn and the masked man just lock eyes. But before he can say anything, Arn bolts like lightning. Soon enough, guards show up, having heard something fishy, and inquire about the masked man. He coolly brushes it off, saying, "Ah, nothing, just a cute little cat." Then Arnie sneaks into the palace through an empty corridor and crashes the party on the 3rd floor. Spotting a mask lying on a table, she snatches it and puts it on. A while later, Arnie spots the Emperor mingling with guests. He's Chikleon IV, Emperor of the Western Kingdom, Arnie's boss and her uncle. As she approaches him to get that frost stamp, she's startled to see her mom grilling someone about her whereabouts. Her mom even threatens to end her if she doesn't show up at the party. Hearing that, Arnie legs it out of there, but luck isn't on her side. Her mom follows her into the same corridor, hunting her down. Arn tries to hide in a room, but her mom seems to sense someone's there and tries to check it out. Arn's freaking out with no escape route in sight when suddenly, a red cloak drapes over her, hiding her. Turns out, it's the masked man from earlier, signaling her to keep quiet. When her mom finds them, he improvises a story about being with his shy lover. Feeling bad for barging in, her mom apologizes and leaves them alone. Arn's relieved her mom didn't find her and asks the masked man why he helped her. He replies with a cheeky remark, comparing her to a cute cat. Hearing this playful response, Arn's convinced he's a stranger who doesn't know who she really is. But then, she suddenly feels queasy from last night's alcohol and hastily thanks him, giving him a badge as a token of gratitude, promising to help him out if he ever needs it. After Arnie leaves, a servant of the masked man arrives. He calls him Lord Cassian. The servant's a bit surprised by what went down, noticing Cassian's gleeful mood as he gazes at the badge in his hand. He informs Cassian that the Emperor wants to meet him. They head off to see the Emperor. Compared to Cassian's home in the Northern Kingdom, the Western Kingdom is much wealthier and prosperous, all thanks to Riwogosa, a swordmaster who protects the realm. Throughout history, only 100 people have reached the level of Swordmaster, and most are from the Western Kingdom. They've always saved the Western Kingdom from the brink of destruction. Since Cassian's traveled all this way to the Western Kingdom, he's eager to meet this remarkable swordmaster in person. He expresses his wish to the Emperor, but unfortunately the Emperor refuses, fearing that news of Arnie being a swordmaster might anger her mom and make it hard for her to find a spouse. Suddenly, cries of pain divert Cassian's attention from the balcony above. He sees Arnie being dragged away by her mom, looking miserable. Cassian smiles softly at the sight of Arn, then turns to join the Emperor for a chat about the inter-kingdom marriage. Has Cassian found someone he likes? Well, during the recent parties, Cassian was supposed to find a potential spouse, and he immediately thinks of the woman who caught his eye and gave him a badge. So, he tells the Emperor he chooses the woman with the badge as his betrothed. And boy, is the Emperor surprised when he sees the badge belongs to Arn, the mightiest warrior in the Western Kingdom, hailed as the national hero, revered by all and the head of the Golden Dragon Army. That's Arnie Brilhite's achievement. However, at home, Arnie's only seen as a princess who can't seem to tie the knot. One day, out of the blue, the Duchess insists that Arnie needs to get hitched ASAP. Hearing that, Arn's ready to bolt through the window, but quick as a flash, the Duchess blocks it. She insists that love's a fun thing and all girls Arnie's age are already married. The Duchess is also peeved about Arnie being dubbed the Mad Dog of the Kingdom because she's beaten up every guy in the Western Kingdom, making every guy scattle at the mere mention of marriage with her. The Duchess just wants Arnie to be happy with someone who loves her. But for Arn, happiness comes in different forms. The Duchess explains that if Arnie's content with her current life, she can keep living like that. But she's not cool with the fact that Arn's never even tried dating. The Duchess spills the beans that even the Emperor is worried about Arn. Hence, he's picked someone for her to tie the knot with, the Grand Duke of Turnagain from the Northern Kingdom. Arn flat out refuses to date a foreigner she doesn't know. But the Duchess convinces her that besides no guy in the realm daring to court her, rumors have it that the Grand Duke of Turnagain is drop-dead gorgeous. It'd be pretty darn lovely to have such a handsome hubby, the Duchess adds, teasing Arnie. This just makes Arnie feel even more embarrassed and angry, shouting that she doesn't want to date or marry anyone. Since then, the Duchess has been singing praises about this match. Every chance she gets, she's persuading Arnie to give dating the Grand Duke of Turnagain a shot. And after 2 weeks of this, Arnie's patience has run out, so she reluctantly agrees to meet her match. The long-awaited meeting day arrives. Arn's beautiful long hair adorned with lovely pearls, her soft, elegant face perfected by a gorgeous grayish-white dress adorned with flower motifs and pearls. But beneath Arnie's beauty, she's thinking, how can she marry a stranger? And does she have to live in a foreign land after marriage? Without marriage, Arnie feels comfortable and free. But refusing now would be futile, so Arnie gets a wild idea to mess things up so the guy will reject her. With a beaming face, the Duchess approaches Arnie, praising her beauty. She excitedly invites Arnie to head to the meeting place. Arnie snickers sarcastically, eager to execute her wild plan. Upon arrival, they find out the meeting will take place in one of the palace rooms. Arn asks if her mom will be tagging along, and her mom joyfully confirms, as Arn's dad and the Emperor will also be coming. Arn's wild idea is a bust now, cause causing a scene in front of everyone would be suicide. But Arn's not one to lose her wits just like that. While her mom's busy chatting with a servant, Arnie quietly opens the window and makes a run for it. When her mom notices something's amiss and finds Arnie's gone, she's furious with her daughter's antics. Arnie rushes to find an escape route, and her hopes soar when she spots a horse-drawn carriage passing by. Arnie runs ecstatically and feels lucky she can hitch a ride on the carriage to escape. As Arnie opens the carriage door, lo and behold, Cassian's inside. Cassian greets Arnie with a "we meet again," alley cat smiling. At that moment, Arn's found by the palace servants. Without hesitation, Arnie hops into the carriage, asking Cassian for permission to join him. During the ride, Cassian asks Arnie why she's acting like a runaway noblewoman dodging a political marriage. Cassian even willingly offers himself to be used by Arnie to escape her marriage plans. This makes Arnie Cassian suspiciously, wondering why this guy she just met is so eager to help her out. Realizing Arnie's suspicion, Cassian assures her she doesn't need to worry because he's not expecting anything from her. Arnie accepts Cassian's help, asking him to pretend to be her boyfriend for just one day. Cassian agrees right away. Next, Cassian takes Arnie to a dessert cafe. There, Cassian introduces her to a famous dessert, which piques Arnie's curiosity because she knows more about battlefields than desserts. As Arnie indulges in the dessert, a bit of cream accidentally sticks to her cheek. Seeing this, Cassian offers to tell Arnie how to spread rumors about her having a boyfriend quickly. When Arnie asks how, Cassian suddenly takes the leftover cream from beside Arnie's lips and eats it. Of course, witnessing this romantic gesture surprises everyone there, even Arn, who's taken aback by Cassian's crazy move. A little while later, after their date, Cassian drops Arn off at home. At the gate, Arn thanks Cassian for all his help. Deep down, Arnie actually enjoyed their time together. It was pretty fun, not as dull as she imagined. And she hopes news of their date spreads quickly so her marriage will be called off. Cassian asks why Arnie's so against marriage when she doesn't even know who she's being matched with. Arnie explains she just wants to obey her parents' wishes, and she doesn't want the hassle of living abroad by marrying a stranger. Cassian feels a bit stung by Arnie's response, thinking she sees him as a burden. After their chat, Cassian bids farewell, wishing Arnie the best. In a flash, rumors about Arnie's handsome boyfriend spread throughout the Western Kingdom. Even the Emperor is surprised when he reads about it in the newspaper. Arn thinks her marriage will be cancelled instantly. But lo and behold, her mother, the Duchess, brings shocking news. Grand Duke isn't fazed by the rumors about Arn, so the marriage plans are still on. Learning her plan failed, Arnie resorts to her last option, rejecting the marriage proposal outright because she doesn't want to get married. The Duchess is stunned by this rejection, but she remains calm and offers Arnie a deal. Go through with the marriage and try it out for 3 months. If Arn truly doesn't like her husband after that, she can choose to divorce. The Duchess adds the condition that during the marriage, Arnie must control her emotions and live peacefully without running away, hitting or killing anyone. If she does all that and still isn't happy, the Duchess promises never to push Arnie into marriage again. Imagining 3 months as a short time, Arnie agrees to the Duchess's offer. After Arnie agrees to the marriage, news of her impending wedding spreads like wildfire. In the palace, during a meeting attended by the Emperor, Arn, and military leaders, the Western Kingdom's military leaders even expressed their dissatisfaction with the arranged marriage to the Emperor. The military doesn't want to lose Arnie because she'll have to move abroad. But the Emperor brushes off their complaints, boasting about Arnie bringing a bright and peaceful future to the Western Kingdom through her marriage. Hearing this just adds to Arn's burden. Meanwhile, in the Northern Kingdom, socialite girls are abuzz with the news of Grand Duke Turnagain Cassian's upcoming wedding. This news even makes one of them very unhappy when she hears it. Now, let's hear about Cassian's backstory. Grand Duke Turnagain, named Cassian, is the son of the former emperor and second in line to the throne. In social circles, he's the #1 guy all women want to marry, surpassing even the crown prince. But with news of his marriage spreading, the girl's dream position as Grand Duchess Turnagain has shattered. Currently, in the Northern Kingdom's palace, Cassian is in his office with his aide. They're discussing the background of Arnie Brilhite's family. Unfortunately, the aide can't find much information about the Brilhite family. Cassian is curious about the reason behind the Western Kingdom Emperor's shocked expression upon learning Cassian's decision to marry Arnie. The aide reports there's news about a troubled individual in the Duke Brilhite family, nicknamed the Mad Dog of the Kingdom. Rumors suggest the Mad Dog of the Kingdom makes it difficult to obtain information about the Brilhite family. If anyone speaks out of turn, the Mad Dog of the Kingdom won't hesitate to torture and kill them. Cassian is slightly incredulous to learn there's such a sadistic person in the family of his beloved, but he speculates that maybe that's why Arn has such a relaxed demeanor, which piques Cassian's interest. A little while later, the aide informs them that Arnie's aircraft has arrived in the Northern Kingdom. Hearing this, Cassian quickly leaves to welcome Arnie's arrival, feeling impatient to see Arnie's reaction when she finds out who her actual groom-to-be is. Inside the plane, before landing, Arn's caregiver reminds her of her mother's rules. No killing, especially not using the sword she has. Arn is also asked to always smile, speak softly, and look elegant. Hearing this, Arnie just remains silent because she's already promised her mother. After the plane lands, many people are waiting to welcome the prospective bride. Finally, Arnie steps out of the plane and walks down the stairs. But to her surprise, the first person to greet her is someone she already knows. The man introduces himself as Grand Duke Ternugan, Cassian. That's when Arnie realizes the man she's being matched with is none other than the guy who took her out on a date. Arnie feels utterly deceived and immediately turns around, ordering her caregiver to take her home. Seeing this, Cassian quickly catches up to Arnie and whispers for her to return the favor for his kindness, as per their previous agreement. But Arnie just gets angrier and almost does something reckless. Luckily, the caregiver manages to snap Arnie out of it by saying Cassian should be careful in handling Arnie because she has a fragile and delicate body like glass. This leaves Arnie utterly confused by the nonsense her caregiver is spouting. A day before her wedding, Arnie is seen hiding up a tree. She watches as the servants run around looking for her, calling out her name and reminding her to be careful, afraid her delicate skin will get damaged in the sun. Little does she know, Cassian, up on the palace's upper floor, can see her hiding in the tree. Cassian chuckles as he observes Arnie's antics from the window, wondering to himself how she is managing to climb up there. It strikes Cassian as funny because he feels like he is adopting a cat rather than marrying a princess. Suddenly, Arnie feels like someone is watching her. She quickly glances towards the window but doesn't see anyone there. Worried about being caught by someone nearby, Arnie jumps down from the tree and hides behind it, only to be startled when someone greets her from behind, none other than Cassian. Arn asks when Cassian got there, and he replies with a smile, saying he's just arrived. Arnie grows suspicious if Cassian saw her jump from the tree and why she can't sense his movements. Seeing Arnie silent and staring at him, Cassian teases her, saying she must really like his face to keep staring like that. It makes Arnie blush to hear that, but Cassian is amused by her reaction. Cassian then asks Arnie what she thinks of her not-so-great fiancé-to-be. But Arnie replies that Cassian isn't that bad. In her mind, Arnie actually wants to ask if Cassian already has a mistress. But she hesitates to ask, so she remains silent. Cassian teases her again, asking what she is thinking about to be so captivated by him. Arnie feels embarrassed and reminds Cassian that they aren't married yet. But then Cassian takes her hand and kisses it, saying they'll be married soon and it's too late for Arnie to run away. The next day, Ternugan Palace is busier than ever, because it's the wedding day of the palace's owner. Arn's caregiver cries tears of joy, saying if the Duchess could see Arnie now, she'd be so happy. Arnie looks at her caregiver with a flat expression, saying it sounds like the caregiver is talking as if the Duchess were already dead. Just then, the Duchess's face appears from a magical orb, confirming she is indeed alive and well. Through the orb, the Duchess expresses her wish to witness her daughter's wedding firsthand but sadly can't be there. Arnie reassures her mother it's okay because she can still see everything through the magical orb. The Duchess then informs them that the Emperor, who is also Arnie's uncle, is on his way to the Northern Kingdom to attend Arnie's wedding. Hearing this, Arnie is shocked as if struck by lightning on a sunny day. A while later, the final touches of grooming are done. Everyone who sees her praises Arnie's beauty. However, deep down, Arnie feels anxious about her decision so far because she doesn't want this marriage and worries about living a loveless married life. As Arn's mind still wanders in anxiety, she hears her mother's voice from the magical orb. With a happy smile on her face, her mother praises Arnie's beauty and congratulates her for gaining a new family. Arnie is surprised to see her mother smile so happily, so she decides to continue with the wedding process for her mother's happiness. In the wedding hall, the guests have gathered. One of them is Cassian's personal aide. The aide notices many guests gossiping, and can't believe a woman has finally been chosen by Cassian for marriage. Even the aide is amazed by Cassian's sudden decision to get married. Not long after, the two brides enter the hall. Cassian and Arnie walk hand in hand towards the altar. The guests are awestruck by Arn's beauty. Cassian smiles as he looks at Arn, but Arnie's still struggling with doubt in her mind about whether she has made the right decision. At the altar during the wedding vows, the priest asks if Arnie swears to love her groom for the rest of her life. Arn hesitates at the question, but in the end, she answers that she will swear to love him for the rest of her life. On the other hand, when it's Cassian's turn to say the wedding vows, he confidently speaks the vows with a happy smile. As a sign of their lifelong commitment, the priest allows the newlyweds to kiss. Arnie feels hesitant to kiss, but Cassian approaches, gently touches her chin, and whispers that it's too late for Arnie to run away now. Then, Cassian holds Arnie's waist and kisses her lips softly. The entire audience applauds at the romantic moment. But for Arn, she feels dizzy from the tension during the kiss. The priest then announces that Cassian and Arnie are officially husband and wife. Arnie is still trying to steady her breath to calm her nerves, but Cassian smiles seeing Arnie's expression. After the wedding ceremony, 2 female servants immediately lift Arnie to take her back to her room to rest. The 2 servants are worried that Arn's feet are tired from all the wedding proceedings. In her mind, Arnie feels their treatment is overly indulgent and worries it might become a problem in the future. But suddenly, Arnie remembers the kissing moment earlier, making her face blush again, but she quickly shakes her head as fast as she can to forget about the kiss. A while later, Arnie and the female servants arrive at the Grand Duchess's chamber. When the door opens, Arnie is amazed at how grand and luxurious her room is. Arn sits on the bed and feels relieved that she can finally rest peacefully. But the female servants hurry to leave the room, giggling mischievously, and wish Arnie a very enjoyable night. Seeing their suspicious behavior, Arnie is a bit confused by their words' meaning. But after thinking for a moment, Arnie realizes that tonight will be her wedding night. Arnie panics and intends to run away. She doesn't want to inadvertently end up killing her husband on their wedding night. Arnie opens the window of the room and climbs onto the windowsill. Arn estimates she can jump to the building across the way. But suddenly, she hears Cassian's voice from behind, asking what she is doing up high like that. Arn is at a loss for words because she's been caught. Cassian keeps asking Arnie multiple times what she's doing standing by the window like that. Arn is puzzled about what excuse to give, but eventually claims she's just trying to catch some fresh air. Cassian doesn't buy that excuse. He even becomes suspicious, wondering if Arnie might be contemplating suicide. Arn insists she has no intention of killing herself. However, deep down she doesn't want to explain that she's trying to avoid the wedding night, so she lets Cassian misunderstand. Cassian approaches Arnie and extends his hand as if asking her to come down from the window. Arnie takes Cassian's hand and descends slowly. Cassian remembers the caregiver's warnings about treating Arnie delicately, like she's made of glass. He's aware of Arn's fragile body, but he didn't expect her mental state to be so weak as to contemplate suicide. Suddenly, Cassian lifts Arnie's body. This sends Arnie into a panic because she's not ready to spend the wedding night with a man she doesn't know. With a pounding heart, Arnie closes her eyes, fearing what might happen. But unexpectedly, Arnie is lifted to be laid down on the bed, and Cassian covers her with a blanket. Arnie is confused by the situation, but Cassian explains that today must have been exhausting, so he asks her to rest. Arn can't believe she's allowed to sleep on their wedding night. Then Cassian leans in to whisper, asking Arnie to rest and not think about anything before leaving the room. On the bed, Arnie feels relieved that everything ended the way she wanted, but she's also slightly annoyed at being treated like a child. For nobles, marriage is a means and a natural cultural practice done for the family's welfare. Therefore, many people thought that the Grand Duke Ternugin's marriage was one of those marriages. But after everyone witnessed the romance between the newlyweds during the wedding blessing ceremony, it became clear that this marriage was not for such purposes. Guests were convinced that the Grand Duke truly loved the bride, and the couple seemed perfect for each other. The presence of the female servants who cared so much for the Grand Duchess and Arnie's absence from the party after the wedding blessing ceremony led nobles to believe that the Grand Duke truly cherished his wife. There were even rumors that the Grand Duke personally would kick out any men who looked at the Grand Duchess disrespectfully. The next day, Arnie is seen sleeping on a tree in front of the palace. There is also Cassian, watching Arnie from his office window. The aide feels puzzled by Cassian's change in behavior as he only seems to focus on Arn. But suddenly, Cassian asks the aide what it means if your spouse tries to commit suicide on the wedding night. The aide answers that he doesn't know, but if that were to happen, it could mean the spouse really dislikes the marriage. This disappoints Cassian because his prediction was correct. Then the aide changes the subject by giving Cassian an invitation letter received yesterday and given by the second prince. The letter contains wedding congratulations from the Emperor of the Northern Kingdom and invites Cassian and Arnie to the Northern Kingdom's capital. The aide asks when Cassian will go to meet the Emperor to fulfill the invitation, and Cassian just says he'll do it soon. In the afternoon, Arnie is having tea in the palace garden with her caregiver. There's also a magical orb, so Arnie's mother is very happy to communicate with Arn. Suddenly, her mother teases her by asking if Arn had fun last night. Hearing that, Arnie chokes, and in her heart, she thinks of smashing the magical device into pieces. But then her mother delivers shocking news. Arn's former comrades in the Golden Dragon Warrior unit are on strike because they want Arnie back. Some warriors have even disappeared and can't be reached. This disappoints the Emperor, who wants Arnie to stop the strike, but unfortunately, Arnie can't be contacted by the Emperor. Arnie suggests contacting Uncle Sarno if she can't be reached, but her mother informs her that Arnie rarely meets with Duke Sarno. Arnie claims she's busy, but in reality she's avoiding Uncle Sarno because he often causes her trouble. In her thoughts, Arn can't believe her warrior friends would go on strike. She remembers the warriors laughing at her when they heard she was getting married. Arn's reverie is interrupted when one of the female servants arrives with many gifts from Cassian. Seeing this through the magical orb, her mother finds it very romantic and believes Cassian truly loves Arn. But in her heart, Arnie thinks Cassian sent all those gifts because he thought she was attempting suicide. But suddenly, Arn's instinct sensed something. She recalls seeing something behind the bushes earlier. Arn senses a presence from someone she seems to know. She approaches the bushes and is shocked to find a man behind them, someone Arn knows. Arn is puzzled as to how he ended up there. Who is this man and what connection does he have with Arn? We'll continue in the next video. Thanks for watching.